Minecraft has peaked in 1957. But in 2016, long before the birth of the so-called hardest mod pack in Minecraft, a man known as Dream Master would create what would become one of the most infamous packs in the known observable universe, with only a few knowing about its existence. Its name was GregTech New Horizons. A sprinkling of individuals have proposed an investigation into the GregTech New Horizons. Is it a fun mod pack? And why is it so hard to the point that there is no proof of anyone beating GregTech New Horizons even though hundreds of thousands have tried it, except for one who supposedly reached the final goal, aka obtaining the Stargate, made from millions if not googolplex of machine parts. So while I was AFKing resources in all the mods 3, I began doing extensive analysis of the aforementioned GregTech New Horizons. And I realized that what I was getting into was bigger than originally foretold by prophecies. The farthest mankind has gotten towards conquering the mod pack were these playthroughs stretched out over a few real-life years, with Karax82 having his soul broken by the sheer insanity of GregTech. Nevertheless, I am going to do this even though I am aware of the disastrous consequences. And I had a plan. On the GTNH playthrough of a guy known as Threefold, a man known as the Shadow of X posted about 1,000 words of advice on every episode, totaling to the equivalent of a 5-hour movie script of GregTech New Horizons expertise, which I will proceed to study religiously, demonstrating more perseverance than the fungus fanatics in my comment section. So before I started playing, I created a plan based on advice from these GregTech survivors. This includes collecting every and all food that I can detect, conserving hunger by not sprinting or jumping as much, hoarding all resources since they might be useful in one way or another, exploring for resources, with these things prioritized, including a biome with high humidity for free water, and taking gaming breaks. All of this will lead towards the healing axe, which will basically mean I no longer have to eat. Now that I have an existent plan for the beginning, it was time to game. Immediately after collecting some wood and beginning my exploration, things went cataclysmically wrong. I stumbled upon a cult worshipping a convex polyhedron, led by rare regenerating cultist cleric the predator regenerating cloaking poisonous berserk storm, who struck me with thunder and flung me onto ultra toasting cultist cleric of repulsion gravity darkness with her cloaking storm fiery and blinded me to be finished off by rare throwing cultist cleric the anaerobic exhaust berserk gravity choke, swarming me with fireballs. It was at this moment that a world war begun. Luckily the fireballs from the polyhedron worshippers set the forest around them on fire, causing their own fighters to be set ablaze. So while I was being massacred, the trees everywhere were caught in an inferno, causing a multitude of animals to die, dropping cooked food, while the destroyed trees gave free saplings. This was surprisingly good for progression. So I continued fighting off the cult while they were accidentally fighting themselves, causing them to go extinct. As for the leftover cult warriors, I took them as prisoners of war by trapping them in this perforation. Now that the war was over, I could finally stop dying. Thankfully my items were stored in graves which dropped all my items when I shattered them. So I destroyed my graveyard to become rich. Now it was time to analyze my new loot. First was a void seed, and an abundance of human flesh, which could be consumed. Not only that, it can be used in Chinese cuisine and other industrial processes. At first I thought that dying could be an overpowered resource farm. But a game mechanic makes it so that eating too much of the same food makes Steve become a picky annoying baby. Anyways, it was time to continue with my plan. Not a minute passed when I encountered more opposition. Due to realistic purposes, GregTech New Horizons has 50 new mobs designed for Chinese torture, with a new creeper type that creates a monster egg cobblestone ball filled with water. But luckily they destroyed themselves, creating a lake of free water. This, along with the 80% humidity biome I was in, would make gaming 20 times more grandiloquent, which is important since infinite water sources are disabled in this realistic mod pack. But it was now night time. Which brings us to the third extremely annoying mod this mod pack has. Realistic darkness. Which is self-explanatory. so I had to engineer a way to get rid of the buffed darkness. That was when brain cell number 57 had a genius idea. I was going to make the gamma setting 10 Rio's number, which epically failed. Anyways, it was time to execute my new plan. Camping in this hole to wait for the night to be over, so I can avoid all of the annoying hostile mobs that wanted to stop the grind. After approximately 272 million muon particle lifetimes, I was ready for the next phase of the plan, which was to set up my headquarters and obtain caveman tools. You may have remembered that at the beginning I spawned with a book. This was an extensive guidebook which gave overly detailed explanations on what to do. Currently the goal is to get a bed, which is now outrageous to obtain. Beyond that, I was doomed to journey through the other technology ages, ranging from the beginning aka the Stone Age to Ultra High Omega Extreme Age or something. Which wasn't even really technology because magic is involved in GregTech New Horizons. In the end are some challenges which includes building the Stargate, which probably counts as beating GregTech New Horizons. All of which is estimated to take about 4,000 hours. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. By finishing objectives in the tutorial page, I got other noob resources and some Bitcoin. For one of these objectives, I continued exploring until I discovered a river, where I excavated gravel to obtain flint for some flint tools. For some reason these flint tools were weapons of mass arson. But at the same time the cooked meat from burning animals gives basically one nourishment, making things more realistic. Notable mention. At a 90-degree counterclockwise angle from the river to my base, I found a rather Hyperborean civilization, fortified by impenetrable snow, with an entire society on the inside. But with society, comes free stuff that I can steal, including precious food, all while the inhabitants were spectating and doing nothing. This leads to the construction of the brand new I go by lots of names headquarters, situated on top of a tree to avoid protesting hostile mobs on the ground. The headquarters included some food farms that fed on the watery graves of my haters, as part of the Epsilon trituration set. But due to me not having a bed due to beds becoming more realistic to make, I was unable to skip the night, allowing the hostile mobs to multiply in my territory. This led to several crimes against humanity against me in the morning, with rare twin-lived giant brainy zombie oh my goodness fireballs Weber berserk darkness 1-up ghastly shooting gassed fireballs and spider webs at my base, causing the treehouse to burn in flames, leaving me no other choice but to annihilate them and rebuild my civilization by replacing the tree with a dirt staircase. To avoid further catastrophe I decided it was time to rush towards a bed. So I completed the final objectives in the tutorial page, eventually constructing the bed. Now I could skip dealing with the night. With that out of the way, the Stone Age was finally unlocked. This is where the grind gets real. The Stone Age was basically just a bunch of fetch quests where I have to get object A to obtain object B, except each object requires massive amounts of materials, reminding me of Hypixel skyblock. The good news was that it was rather straightforward and simple. So all I had to do was read and hold left click and sleep and repeat. The first two objectives in the Stone Age are the Coke Oven and Tinker Workstation. For that I harvested stacks of sand and clay, molded them into bricks, and smelted them in stolen village furnaces. I also bring my bed with me in case I had to stay overnight at resource collecting areas. Due to the rather long wait times in GregTech New Horizons, it is basically necessary to do other tasks while waiting for things to process. So while the Coke Oven bricks were being decrepitated, I made the Tinker Workstations, which will be used to make better flint tools than just flint tools. But in reality these new tools were inefficacious and we have all been clickbaited. Anyways, after dealing with that the Coke Oven was ready to be built, which will be used to make charcoal since that is no longer made with a normal furnace. It will also be used to constitute coke for steel, which is a reference to immersive engineering. But I was just kidding because I burglarized modest amounts of coke from the Snow Kingdom village. Unfortunately the other ingredient for steel is iron, which is a bit trickier to get in GregTech New Horizons. This is vanilla Minecraft ore generation. And this is GregTech ore generation. Since caves are too annoying to explore, Ore veins are found by digging down in random areas and manually checking what ores the chunk has. To begin the mining, I had to gather 4 stacks of cobblestone and trade it with the voice in my head for an iron pickaxe. And begin the excruciatingly interminable procedure of pinpointing ore veins. To be more specific, I needed redstone, iron, copper and tin, to make bronze for the Steam Age. But the thing is that veins are made of realistic ores instead, which will give random ingots when smelted, which may be the first actually realistic thing in this realistic mod pack. After what felt like the Poincare recurrence time of the quantum state of a hypothetical box containing a black hole with the estimated mass of the entire universe, I found tens of common veins, with a few rare veins in between. So allow me to do the vein net worth reveal. 1 diamond vein, 1 mica vein, 1 redstone vein, and 1 coal vein. All of which are self-explanatory. Notable mentions: limonite veins for iron, a chalcopyrite vein for copper, a garnierite vein for tin, and some aluminum that apparently fell from the sky. Anyways, now that I know where these veins live, it is time to extract the monetary value. This will be done by drilling a super deep borehole to let the sunlight in so I can see what I am actually mining deep underground. I also built a massive sign so that I could find the veins easily when I return eventually. After several Buddhism cosmology kalpa time units, I mined up all the ores I needed and proceeded to smelt them with all the coal from the coal vein. In the meantime, I used some smelted iron to make my first iron tools, so that I could turn the copper and tin into powder, into bronze, and to ingots, into plates, for the first machine from the Steam Age, aka the steam boiler. The amount of time it took to go from poverty to the Steam Age but still in poverty, is 8 hours. And ahead of me was a whole new chapter of immense tribulation and vexation. Anyways, this mod pack is still easier than I expected so far. The reason why nearly nobody has beaten it 100% is because the end goal simply takes thousands of hours of pure grinding and requires a rather high level of intelligence, which I will not get into. This will be the only GregTech New Horizons episode. And we will end the episode by ruthlessly comparing my technological advancements to other human accomplishments. By taking into consideration my singular Steam machine, the net worth of the I go by lots of names nation will rank between Seychelles and Zanzibar. Important announcement: channel memberships will be disabled on October 10th. For more information, click on the community post link in the description. And shout out to the remaining members so far.